The search for self, for wisdom, for love, for truth, for justice, for God is strenuous and unending. We need good companions in order to persevere in it. In good company, in a community of conviction, the quest never loses its relevance, its urgency, or its savor. K. Ash, Order of Preachers.
This quote is special to our family, reminding us daily of the importance of relationship in our lives. It humbles us, reminding us that we cannot accomplish anything alone and that we need good companions in order to persevere. Kay Ash, the author of that quote, was a Cincinnati Dominican sister, a member of a community that was formative in both HUD, my husband, and my post-college years. As apostolic volunteers, we and other lay people lived in an intergenerational, intentional community with Cincinnati Dominican sisters in Chicago. We were also placed in ministries with these sisters, and from them we learned the importance of relationships that sustain us in hard times and which give us inspiration to work for justice.
Joan of Arc is a place where we have found those good companions and a community of conviction.
Hi, I'm Julia.
And I'm Tom. And
welcome to the Hobday House.
Rose asked us to share a reflection with you on this Children and Youth Sunday and also Mother's Day, a day on most years when whole families gather with other parishioners to fill the gym to overflowing as we celebrate the vibrant energy kids bring into our lives. We should be hearing from the children's choir, the club band, and in addition to this club, this mother-child duo, instead of us in our house, not quite the same effect.
Nothing is anymore these days, is it? The same? We miss you, Joan of Arc. We miss our relationships with all of you, our good companions on this journey. And interestingly, on this Children and Youth Sunday, it is precisely because of St. Joan of Arc's children's programming that we landed at Joan of Arc. We thank you for these wonderful programs that bring us together in relationship. So Rose also asked us to share a bit about our journey to Joan of Arc. So here we go. We moved to the east side of St. Paul 16 years ago, and we left behind our home parish of Blessed Sacrament, which is in an African-American neighborhood. And actually the church was right next door to our house in North Lawndale, where the church was where Tom and his younger sister were both baptized and where we were living in an intentional community in that house. We split our time between Blessed Sacrament and San Pio, which is in the Mexican immigrant community of Pilsen. And San Pio was the church that sponsored the school that my husband had taught in. So when we came to the Twin Cities, we began looking for a parish similar to ours in Chicago. And it took us over a year of church hopping to realize that we would never replicate our Chicago church communities, nor should we have tried. Throughout that time, we were continually drawn back to Joan of Arc. We quickly realized that music and liturgy was super important to us. So shout out to Anna and Fred Vagley and the St. John's Choir and all the musicians for their evocative, spirit-filled music that fill our masses each week. We also really value the engaging liturgies that make our faith so real and so pertinent to the issues around us every day. So another shout out to Anna and to Julie Madden, who coordinates our pre-mass speakers and who together, with their creativity and wisdom, combine to bring us these treasures every week. And then there are homilies by both Fathers Jim that connect the good news to life today in the 20th century, or 21st century, I guess it is. So at St. John's, we have always felt welcome, along with everyone else, wherever we are on our journeys. But actually, it was the inclusion of children and families and the faith development aspect that we knew our kids would get at Joan of Arc that sealed the deal for us and made us become parishioners. Our kids began their own faith journeys in the nursery with Steve Friedrichs when he ran that nursery co-op. From there, they proceeded to join Christine Patlin in the preschool program, and then on to Becky and Marie in the faith formation classes, and finally to youth group with Rose and Brennan. And Family Mass. Gabrielle Dane is my personal hero as she consistently puts together fun, meaningful liturgies and family activities for our children and families. Liturgies that we feel are just as beautiful as those gym masses are. And we've mostly transitioned to those gym masses, but because of family mass and its great offerings. Often my husband will kind of sneak out at the usual time after communion, so sometimes we end up there too. But we have all of you at Joan of Arc to thank for our very rich faith lives, so thank you.
At St. John's, my siblings and I were baptized, made our first communions and penance, and I recently chose to continue my faith journey as an adult when I made my confirmation. My family has engaged in a relationship with the St. John's community through family mass, volunteering at soup kitchens, participating in the Christmas and Heart of the Beast plays, Advent evenings, and soup suppers. What makes me feel like a part of St. John's the most, though, is my involvement in peer ministry. The summer before my junior year, I went on a service trip to Pine Ridge with SJA. Before going on the trip, I had no intention of joining peer ministry. But as the week progressed, I realized that working all day and spending time with people in community that believed in God and were there to serve just felt right. I made many connections that I still carry today, and at the end of the trip, I asked Rose if I could become a peer minister. Being a peer minister has opened up a whole new aspect of life at St. John's to me. It has made me more invested in the community and given me a sense of ownership towards my faith and my community. It has provided me an avenue in which I feel encouraged to speak my truth about my feelings on faith and what is going on in the world around me. And it has introduced me to people I wouldn't have connected with otherwise, like Brennan and Rose and my other peer ministers, Owen and Bridget.
So I branched out from the faith formation and family ministry to join St. Joan of Arc anti-racist core group a couple of years ago when it was finally manageable for me to leave this house in the evenings, actually when Tom got his driver's license so he could help drive kids around. I've always been a part of other anti-racism initiatives, but I always felt like there was something missing. And at Joan of Arc, I was able to integrate my faith into that heart work while also getting to know other adults in the parish. I'm so grateful for the folks in that group, and especially Sarah Gleason, who shepherded me in. And I've missed seeing them recently, since I've taken a bit of a hiatus as we try to hunker down and figure out this life in quarantine. Also, thank you to Julie Madden. I'm a member now of the Justice Grant Committee, where I get to learn about all the wonderful volunteer activities that the rest of you in our community are doing. And I really feel so blessed to be among all of you who are doing such good work out in the community. So you inspire me.
My inspiration in my faith has always been my parents and my extended family as a whole. They have provided the blueprint for what a Catholic who believes in social justice and community should act like. They have guided me through my sacraments and pushed me towards being active in my faith without being overbearing. Also, shout out to my Aunt Patty, who is my confirmation sponsor. Within the SJA community, Rose and Brennan have inspired me. They have connected on a spiritual and personal level with me and so many other youth, and have taught me everything from what Vatican II was to what it means to serve others. They have also helped shape how I see my own faith, and have provided me with an image of what I hope others see me as I progress through my faith journey. I experience God the most when I perform acts of service and through the people I am in service for. I always enjoy talking and working alongside with the people I serve. I think doing something for someone is good, but getting to know them and their story makes it that much more meaningful and valuable. I also see God in the natural world, and although Corona has brought many negatives, one positive is that I have a lot more time to go on walks and runs and experience the beauty of nature. I hope that people realize the opportunity that we have been given to slow down and reconnect with nature, and that opportunity that we have been, and that opportunity is not lost when we get back to normal post-corona. It is this hope that keeps me going when the impact of social distancing starts to weigh on me, and when it does, I take stock of all the reflection and family time that this pandemic has given me. I hope that this worldwide pandemic phenomenon makes us a more unified and helpful world, and that it gives us empathy and compassion. And finally, I really, really hope that in-person learning returns for my freshman year of college next fall.
Mm-hmm. So, as we've been saying, what sustains me is relationship. People throughout my life, relationships that have come and gone, and from whom that I have learned I've grown, and I stay rooted in love. Another thing that sustains me is practicing gratitude. I keep a gratitude journal, one that my neighbor, Stephen Moore, gave to me a couple years ago, and that goes back to relationship. I have a relationship with him that I really value, but he gave me this gratitude journal and suggested it would be a helpful thing to do. And in it, I record little gratitudes that I wouldn't ordinarily take time to think about every day in our hectic lives. So like the miracle of the unfolding spring, sunshine when it returns after the winter, and now in the COVID era, connecting with people I didn't have time to before through Zoom calls that span the continent, right? And connecting with my family. We have dinner together almost every night, which hasn't happened in I don't know how many years. And we have conversations that weren't happening before because we were always running from one activity to another. And cooking together, my kids are actually cooking and helping with that. So that's been amazing. And then not only those little gratitudes, which those maybe aren't so little, but really important things like our health right now in this time of pandemic. And like Tom, I'm hopeful that we don't rush right back into the frenetic lives we were leading before, and that we focus even more on relationship and gratitude. So finally, Julie asked us to share what we've learned from each other.
I've learned so much from my mom. Everything from how to tie my shoes to not put my hand on the oven. But one of the most important things that I learned from her is the power of compassion and of meeting people where they're at. I think my mom is a great example of someone who exemplifies this, both through her actions and her work. As long as I can remember, when I was upset at someone, my mom tried to not only make me feel better, but get me to understand why the other person acted that way. She had compassion not just for me, but the other person as well. A common question at the dinner table, both pre and post-corona, is how did you make today a better day for someone else? My mom's focus on the well-being of the community as a whole is inspiring, and her commitment to providing for others has driven to me to try to be like her and take other people's feelings into consideration every time I make a decision. She has made me a more selfless and compassionate person, and I am so lucky to have her as a mom.
So I didn't write mine down because Tom knows we always call him our guinea pig. So really from Tom, we learned how to be parents. And as I started to think about what I've learned, there were so many things that it would take all day to enumerate them. But so recently, I would say I'm going to come to recent time in this COVID pandemic. As Tom said, he's a senior in high school, and he's seen a lot of things change and not go the way that he was planning. But instead of getting angry or despondent or pouting, Tom has really channeled that energy into really productive ways by working on his college applications and really discerning what he's going to do next in his life. I'm just really impressed with how you've turned lemons into lemonade. And another thing is I think I've learned from you, your compassion and kindness to other people. So I'm grateful for you. All right, Joan of Arc, thank you very much for this time. And hopefully the next time we see you together, it will be in church together. Peace out.
Bye.